Hi, this is Doug. This is video 1 in the series of the BigCommerce product data import process, how to clean up the data to get it ready for import, and all the other little steps in between. This is the revised process. These videos will be kept as short as possible. This is the start video. So we're going to talk about the guiding principles here real quick, and some of the things we can expect. So organization is the key to this. You're going to create a lot of revisions, a lot of files, and it's real easy to get confused. As you create new revisions, you're going to be creating multiple worksheets, multiple tabs in the spreadsheet. We have a standard naming convention that's been figured out. Try to adhere to that at least as closely as possible. Keep in mind other people are going to be looking at your work at some point in the future, maybe after you're gone, and are going to have to be able to interpret what the heck. None of this importing process is a one-shot deal. You'll be doing this again, so quite likely in 6 months you'll be digging up the old import files and making modifications to update the site. And if you can't figure out what you did, it's going to make life that much harder, and you're going to have to rework a lot of things. So, assume nothing, verify everything. Vendors are ninnies, or data sources are ninnies, whether it be a catalog service or a vendor or scraping. Don't expect any consistency, even out of the same sources. Expect you're going to have to go back to the source several times before you get all the information you need. Expect that the information that's in one sheet, especially things like pricing or some of the specifications, do not expect that they will be the same values in spreadsheets that come afterwards. Always, you're going to have to verify forwards and backwards, and when you have to try and merge data, it can get really clunky because trying to figure out what is the most accurate, most recent version of pricing or lumens or wattage or something can be a real pain in the butt. Although I hate to see it, consistency is more important than accuracy. So in the case of attributes, descriptive information on the product, what you have in the product name should match the product description, and also it needs to match the attribute bullet points. If you have 1000 lumens in the product name, it better say 1000 in the product description, and it better say 1000 in the attribute points. If you got 3 different values or 2 different values and you're not sure which one is the right one, usually the highest value is, but make your best guess. What matters is that all the numbers match, not necessarily that they're right. Be very mindful of the size of the spreadsheet. When you've got 40, 50,000 products that you've got descriptive information on, and you create 5 or 6 or 7 worksheets within a spreadsheet, it's not unusual for the size of the file to get very, very large. Excel starts to get really, really quirky at 25 megs. Try and keep the spreadsheets under 20 megs. That means you're going to have multiple revisions of the spreadsheet. You're going to have to save at a certain point, copy to a new file name, delete some tabs and some columns of data before you can continue to try and keep the file size down, or else Excel gets really rickety, and it also gets very unwieldy to try and work with anyway. Try and co-opt other people to take a look at the data when you do major changes. Many eyes are better than one. When you've been staring at thousands of records for hours and hours, if not days, trying to clean stuff up, it's easy for your brain to become blind to things, to obvious patterns. Try and get other people to look at the data a little bit when you do major changes and see if they can catch something that you didn't. It will save you hours and hours of work. Expect that you may have to get data from a variety of sources. If you were just dealing with a catalog, Pictures tend to be bland. They like to use one picture for 27 different sizes of something. You put that on a web page, it looks horrible, that kind of stuff. Sometimes they scramble attributes. The vendor, not unusual for them to send you a spreadsheet and it's missing 2 or 3 columns of critical information. Then you go to their website and you notice all the information's on that. They got to have it somewhere. Go back, nag them, get the information. Somebody's got to have it. Somebody creates their website. Also keep in mind, having a rudimentary understanding of the product goes a long way. Go to the vendor's website, understand the different groupings and pattern of the product, at least some idea of what it does, because later on the categorization process or rewriting the descriptions, that will come in very, very handy. If you don't understand the product, you can't group it correctly. Doesn't hurt to do a few spot checks of the data that they gave you in the spreadsheet and what it says on their own website. It's not unusual for some strange reason for vendors to provide you information and it contradicts what's on their own website. There's a reason for this. The vendor's probably screwing with you. They're not in the business of trying to make your life easier. They're in the business of selling you the products so you can resell the product. So, so most of the time, your point of contact at the vendor is a salesperson, and they're talking to someone else who's actually spitting out some data to hand to you, and they just want you to go away. So get used to having to nag them several times till you get what you need, or you might have to find other sources. There is a master document of all the steps that's required in the process from going from the data source, the vendor spreadsheet or whichever it is, all the way through to getting everything imported and doing the final checks in BigCommerce. This document is the master document and will be modified and improved continuously. These videos are derivative of that. Within this document explains the naming convention of the directories, the locations of the directories, the file name conventions, all of these things. It is important to be consistent. If this needs to be changed, it changes at this master document first and the videos are redone. Do not get too creative because, once again, other people have to look at this. 6 months from now, I guarantee you'll have to be revisiting it. You're gonna have to be able to understand what was it you did 6 months ago, and being consistent and standard will make all the difference. Here is an example of the naming structure. Here we have where the spreadsheets will go. Here is where the images are going. Here is where the install and spec sheet PDFs go. It's important to keep these separate because every time you do a download, you have no idea what different processing steps you're going to have to go through. Do not assume that all of these images are going to download properly. You're going to have broken links. Do not assume that the images that you download are going to be in an immediately usable form and you may have to modify them. Do not assume that just because you downloaded an image and it's in the right format, it doesn't say something like image not available and you're going to have to clean it out and remove it. Keeping these kind of modular and separated goes a long way towards not making your life a nightmare of trying to remember all the steps. Here we have an example of the naming convention for the spreadsheets, and that's all explained in the master document. Here is some example of the naming convention for, well, I won't get into the great details of the naming convention for all of this. It's in the master document. So as promised, short and sweet. Good luck on data conversion. Thank you and have a nice day.